Tonight on Reel to Reel, meet a man who helps teenagers learn.
And the people who teach the angels to sing.
Discover one man's vision of his faith.
And meet a 7-foot bearer of joy. Hello, I'm Sean Hughescamp.
And I am Monsignor Charles Minor. Welcome to Reel to Reel.
By now the fall semester is in full swing, and most children are pretty much anxiously awaiting their first quarter report cards. By now they probably know that teachers are getting pretty serious.
They're really getting earnest about their work, and that's a rude awakening sometimes to new students. When the presidential campaign begins next year in earnest, much will be said about the status of education in the United States. Many ideas will be proposed, and some will work. Well, the first story tonight tells us about an educational system that bears very much watching, because it works.
Music, the language of angels, the universal language. It has been said that it is easier to understand a nation by listening to its music than by learning its language. In the mid-1960s, a master violin teacher from Japan visited the United States and demonstrated a new way to teach the language of music to very young children. The man's name was Suzuki. Rhonda Cole was a student at the renowned Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York, at the time of Suzuki's visit.
And while I was at Eastman, a tour of Japanese children came with Dr. Suzuki and performed. And I had the experience of seeing these 10 children from age 5 to maybe 15 perform so exquisitely that the faculty, the artist faculty at the Eastman School of Music was sitting there in tears. And I was watching very young children playing pieces with great ease and technical ease and performing ease that were hard for music majors. And we all looked at this and thought, this must be some Oriental trick. We just could not believe that these were normal children, although they insisted these were normal children. They were not genius children, they were normal children.
Since that time, the Suzuki method has grown worldwide, with thousands of children, many as young as 2 or 3, learning piano, cello, flute, and violin.
Ready? Play. Okay, Caroline.
The philosophy of the Suzuki method is, first of all, a belief in the fact that all children, all people are born with a great deal of human potential that they can develop in any way that they choose to direct it. We happen to choose music as our area of development.
Mary Kay Neal runs a school in New York called Buffalo Suzuki Strings.
But I think the secret is in the small, systematic steps that we use. In other words, we teach the children in small steps, and we help them to master each step as they go along. And the accumulation of many successes produces the wonderful result that you're seeing here.
Not only must the child be allowed to move along in small, easy steps, but Dr. Suzuki says the fate of a child is in the hands of his parents.
Start here. Stop.
The parent attends each lesson with the child, the private lessons as well as these group lessons. They take notes and learn along with the child. When they get back home, the parent becomes the teacher. Dr. Suzuki says that where love is deep, much can be accomplished.
The children do not often have the opportunity to see mother or father, whoever is the teaching parent in the Suzuki system. They do not have the opportunity to see that parent be a novice at something and watch the parent really work at it. All the mothers or fathers, if they're the participating ones, they all learn to play the violin up to at least the first 10 or 12 pieces, beginning pieces. And that includes even Rosalind Carter. I taught Amy while she was here in Washington, yes. And Rosalind, who had every excuse in the book for not attending lessons because of her schedule, or not cutting her fingernails, which is necessary to play the violin, because of reception lines and whatnot. She wanted to be a part of this activity. She said, if I put it on my schedule, there'll be no other appointments, and I will do this. And it was a very nice thing for that family.
Another of Rhonda Cole's students is 16-year-old Elizabeth Estey.
Well, I enjoy practicing on my own, and I like to play with other people who take the Suzuki method. That's one of the best things about it, I think, is that you play not only by yourself, but with other people who get to be very good friends.
Suzuki has regular play-ins, where the beginning students have a chance to listen to what practicing has done for the advanced students. This way, the younger ones can see what is possible for them in the future. At some of these play-ins, the little ones get to play along with the older ones and experience the power of a full sound. Music is probably one of the purest expressions of spirit that we have. It can speak from the soul to the soul. Dr. Suzuki has proven that children can learn this most universal of languages as simply and as naturally as they can learn to speak their mother tongue. One easy step at a time, surrounded by respect and patience, and nurtured by love, our children can learn to speak with the angels themselves.
The Suzuki method enables children to express their creative energies and grow. And it also adds a new twist to an old saying, "You're never too old or too young to learn."
Don't touch that dial. Coming up, meet Amanda the Panda in People and Places and see a very personal and unusual expression of faith.
A number of families experience great tension because of the expression or lack of expression of faith between one generation to another. Mark Pisato is a graduate student of drama at the Catholic University in Washington. He uses a stage backdrop and performs a metaphor to express to us how he thinks he dealt with his problem and crisis of faith.
All the world's a stage. Well, then there's really not very much to it, is there? I used to think the theater was an enchanted island where anything was possible and everything could be acted out. But it's really nothing more than a flat. There's nothing here. Nothing. Nothing. No. No. No life. I remember now. Once upon a time, I believed in God, and I went to church. I'd pray to God and thank Him for everything, all the good things. And I'd ask for His help, too. I'd feel wonderful then. Sundays. I remember coming home feeling so wonderful. What happened then? What we need now is a good director with a good script to act. I used to have a script. I had faith in God, and God would direct me. No. No more acting. Nothing has value anymore. Not to me. I'm imprisoned by my mind. I've got to break out of here. I can see now. I believe I can see.
Perhaps one way to faith is through despair. Despair of one's own way of thinking. Despair and hope and faith. A new faith in an old belief.
There's a point in my life that I looked at myself and thought, what gifts do I really have? Or what makes me, me? You know, what if I could do anything in the world, what would I do, you know, with my gifts? And that's when I came up with the gift of compassion and just a real love for children. And really that's the real story of how Amanda was created.
Hi! Not every state can claim a 7-foot-tall talking panda bear as a resident, but Des Moines, Iowa is the home of Amanda the Panda, the bear with a heart. Amanda's not with a circus. In fact, she doesn't even live at a zoo. Rather, Amanda spends her days visiting children with very serious illnesses.
Given 2 children equally ill, and if I had to make a choice, if I couldn't see them both, though I would try my best to see them both, But if I had to make a choice and I could only see one, I would go to the one at home. Simply and only because the one in the hospital has company. They have doctors and nurses and staff people, dietitians, technicians, therapists, all kinds of people come in and out of his room. But the child at home, no one comes to play with anymore. Maybe the child is too sick to play or too weak to play the way they want to. So no one comes to see them. And it's a very, very lonely time sometimes for children. And one day blends into the next and nothing much different happens. And then one day a panda hears about him. And you can imagine a child's face light up when the door opens and here's a 7-foot panda just wanting to play.
I'm Amanda the Panda, and you're Paul. I can tell by your hat.
One of Amanda's new friends is Paul Young. Even though Paul's doctors say he's well on the road to recovery, Amanda comes to play whenever she can.
I really fall deeply in love with these kids. They are just marvelous, really beautiful children and tremendously deep faith. All different religious denominations. Just beautiful, beautiful faith.
Put her there. Give me 5. All right. Okay, terrific. I'm going to go now, but I want to give you a hug. Oh, I love you, Paul. Thank you very much. I will see you soon, okay?
Joanne Zimmerman, herself a mother of 3, created Amanda in 1980. In addition to a heavy schedule of personal appearances, she has also established Camp Amanda, a fun-filled weekend getaway for children who have experienced the death of a parent or sibling.
It's just, I don't know. You know, I feel like a feather being blown by the wind, and the wind is God. And wherever he leads this, I'm just saying, here I am, Lord, you know, is it I?
I'm improving more and more, you know, each day. When I get out of here, I'm going to go to college and take up computer science.
Our last story told you about a successful method for teaching young children. But our next story will tell you about a program that teaches older students, but more importantly, gives them a shot at a new beginning.
The heartland of America, where fertile ground gives life to an abundance of crops. Farmlands stretch out for miles across the horizon, quite a contrast from the inner city of Kansas City, Missouri. Here it's young minds that are being cultivated, and the seeds planted are food for thought. Godfrey Kobitz is nearly 70 years old and has devoted most of his life to children and education. He spent 2 decades teaching with the Christian Brothers of De La Salle, but when the decision was made to close De La Salle High School, Kobitz wouldn't give up.
So in 1971, when the brothers closed their school, that's exactly where I found myself. When I was asked, what are you going to do? I don't know. I just have to tell you the Holy Spirit moved me to say, I'm going to take care of these kids.
So 12 years ago, he founded the De La Salle Education Center to provide tuition-free education for the economically disadvantaged. But fulfilling that dream has not been easy.
The only source of income we got is to get it from the government or beg it. And the government took 70% of our funding when the new administration came in. When they cut the social service programs, they cut 70% of our funding. We still have the same kids, the same people, on the same program by the will of God. And that's the only reason.
Deeply rooted in the philosophy that everyone deserves an education, the new De La Salle accepts only those students who have dropped out or been pushed out of the conventional school system.
People walk into the school and you've got anywhere from 53 to 63% of them have been in contact with the courts. You'll have as many as 55 of them have committed felonies, all the way down to status offenders. And then you've got other kids who've had no trouble with the courts.
But all of these young people have one thing in common. None of them could make it in a standard academic setting. In this country, some 750,000 students leave school each year without a diploma. Kobitz believes poverty and illiteracy are the causes.
Now, if you have a nonverbal student who doesn't want to go to reading and he has no communication skills, you got to find out what his hot button is, so you put him in vocational skills. He can touch, he can see, and he can hear. He can do all those things. Got 3 senses he can use, and he's using them on the street, okay? Using them to sell steel. He's using them in vulgar activities. He's using them everything that might be wrong, but he's using those 3 senses. So he comes in here, and we take these 3 senses, and we put them to good use.
The print shop is part of the De La Salle Vocational Skills Program. Here, students learn printing techniques. In the English class, they learn the terminology of the trade. Principal Clark Powell refers to De La Salle as a comprehensive high school, which uses vocational skills as a tool.
Well, we use the vocational skills class to motivate these kids, and we have what we call correlativity, which means that we take that math class, we take that science class, we take that English class, we take the social studies class, hook those classes into their vocational skills classes and make them see the relevancy in why you need math, why do you need social studies, why do you need English, and it works.
My name is Anthony Pree, and I came up here because I needed help in certain areas of a basic, what they call R's. And so I came up here, I had reading problems. I could read a little bit better now than I did when I was at public school.
Up here, the teachers help you more than they do in public schools. You get individual help up here, and it's less in a classroom.
Okay. Well, then the next question, the other jobs.
In Kathy Brince's English class, there are 10 students. That enables her to devote time to individual instruction.
You get closer to the kids. You see the progress. The curriculum is very flexible. You can do many different things. You don't have to stick with one certain area. You work with the kids at the level they're on, and that's good.
I'm improving more and more, you know, each day. When I get out of here, I'm going to go to college and take up computer science.
For those who aren't going on to college, De La Salle provides practical job training.
This is one area in which we've gotten students to want to get into the academic classes. That's one thing. We've used our vocational skills classes as pre-vocational classes for future training and future employment.
The future is bright for the students at De La Salle. Through the teachers, they are getting an education and a new sense of self-esteem.
I have come here a lot of times, you know, kind of frustrated. When I leave, you know, they make me happy, you know, because they sit down and talk to me. You know, they make me feel good.
The thing I like about working in De La Salle is that at the end of the day, you feel like you have at least had some kind of an impact. And as a whole, working in De La Salle, you can affect a change. And I think that's the thing that draws every one of us to De La Salle.
And all the people in this school are Christian people, and they all give Christian witness, because there's no religion taught. They're all told us when they come. Your life has to be an example, and you cannot teach better than by example. So these teachers, when kids come, they show them how much they care. They show them how much they love them, how much they're willing to share their time with them.
I have to say, my friends, this road goes a long, long way. And if we're gonna find the end, we're gonna need a helping hand. I have to say, my friends, we're looking for a light ahead. In the distance, a candle burns. Salvation keeps the hungry children fed. It's gotta take a lot of salvation.
In the processes of education, the child with the advantage oftentimes has to be motivated to desire more and to add technique to his knowledge. But the disadvantaged child regularly has a desire, but what we have to add to him is the cognitive values of his education. And so the system has to deal with the whole person.
Next week on Reel to Reel, we'll inaugurate a monthly series of close-up interviews with guests here in our studio. They'll concern themselves with topics and programs of interest to Catholics. In our first show, we'll learn about the Campaign for Human Development.
We'll also meet the creator of the Wee Pals comic strip.
We'll see a performance by a theater group, the Fountain Square Fools.
And we'll review a movie in the Arts Review series.
And meet a handicapped man on a mission of awareness.
We've enjoyed being with you. Good night and God bless you.
Good night. See you next week.